and a track that always produces some super racing in the Euroformula Open. This then the qualifying session for the 9th of 16 races in the 2018 campaign. They've got 30 minutes to play with around the 3 and a bit mile long Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. And the field now headed by Lucas Dunner, powering down the Hanger Straight for the first time. Well, in terms of the championship in the first half of the season, it was 7 victories to Felipe Dragovich in the RP Motorsport car, the runaway championship leader. He's got almost double the number of points for everybody else in the championship fight, and along the way, he scored 6 pole positions from the opening first weekends of the year as well. So he is very much the man to beat. Second in the championship standings, and the top rookie is the Teo Marti Motorsport driver Ben Piscal, and he is just a handful of points clear of Mateus Yorio, who leads the Carlin Motorsport charge, third in the standings. The only other driver to have won a race this year is the Argentine Marcus Siebert for the Campos team, and he is currently 4th in the points, clear of the second of the Carlin drivers, Cameron Dass, the American, who is 5th in the standings. We are currently watching the Fortec entry for the weekend, the Australian driver Callan Williams, who has had a couple of points scoring finishes already this campaign. His best result coming in race 1 at Hungaroring, where he finished in 6th place. The Australian getting quicker and quicker with each and every outing, as he is currently 12th in the championship standings. So with the time that they've got to play with, the way we'd expect to see this qualifying session unfolding is that they will spend the first half of the session probably on slightly older tyres, just feeling how the track has rubbered in overnight, feeling where the grip is this morning, and then really letting rip with a brand new set of tyres in the second half of the qualifying period. They all run, of course, on the Control Compound Michelin tyre, which produces a great performance for them. And in terms of qualifying spec, it will give them peak qualifying performance probably in the optimum heat cycle for about 2 to 3 laps. So that's where we will see the times being set later on. Already, the Euroformula Open confirming its calendar for the 2019 campaign, and some very exciting technical developments as well for the future of the championship. For the remainder of this year, though, they are, of course, all in the Dallara F312 chassis. They are powered by the Control Spec Toyota engine, lots of other control components supplied by the championship promoters to make as level a playing field as possible. It's accelerating through the Vale and out of club for Callan Williams. He'll then head past the Formula 1 pits complex, heading towards the very quick sequence at Abian Farm that will begin the sinuous run back towards the Woodcote pits complex that we're using this weekend to the loop then for Callan Williams. And he'll accelerate through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. There's Christian Hahn in one of the 2 Drivex cars, and the Brazilian competitor 10th in the championship standings. The best result of the year as well for him is 6th position. His teammate Lucas Dunner currently 8th in the standings. Christian Hahn, his 2nd campaign in the Euroformula Open, still looking for that elusive first podium. And then pursuing him on the track is the championship leader, the RP Motorsport driver, Felipe Dragovich. Dragovich, who was 2nd in yesterday's free practice sessions. On the merged times, it was Marcus Siebert who was quickest overall. And for the overwhelming majority of the field, the quickest free practice times coming in the latter of yesterday's sessions. So accelerating down the Hanger Straight then for Callan Williams. He's just posted a 1 minute 54.513. Quickest time in free practice was a 1 minute 51.174. As I say, it will all depend on how the teams are using their tyre allocation for the weekend. But Williams just looking ahead, picking his line through Vale. Now the club picks up the throttle. This, of course, the home race for the Fortec squad, a circuit that they know very, very well indeed. Williams going a little bit quicker than he has on the previous occasion. The other driver who is going well thus far on this tour of the circuit is Lucas Dunner. second of the Drivex cars, and he is currently 7th in the standings. Done midway through the second of the sectors on the lap, which is the longest sector really, as Williams comes out of it now, heading down the Wellington Straight. And this lap's just gone away from Callum Williams a little bit. Christian Hahn behind him, having a reasonably good tour of the circuit as well. On the brakes through Brooklands, and then picking up the never-ending right-hand hairpin at Luffield. For the sprint through Woodcote on towards Copse Corner. See whether or not this turns out to be an improvement for Callum Williams. It does indeed, a 1 minute 54.285. So that's his best lap of this qualifying period. Here, meanwhile, is Guilherme Samar, the Brazilian driver, 6th in the championship. 1 podium so far this season. That came at Spa-Francorchamps as Lucas Dunner goes fastest. Felipe Dragovich flashes through and proves his time, only 2 minutes 2, so not really a flying lap. We'll see now what the runaway championship leader can do. So this stage of the session, the drivers are using as much as anything just to make sure the car is exactly as they'd want it to be for the second half of the qualifying period. So unless we had some very unexpected and unforecast precipitation, we shouldn't read too much into the lap times at this point in the session. That said, Felipe Dragovich has just posted the fastest first sector time of anybody in the session thus far, and a quarter of a second quicker than everybody else as well. And this is what he's done so often this year. Not only has he had 6 pole positions, more often than not, they have been very emphatic ones as well. Bent Fiscal, his nearest championship rival, also on a good lap. Fiscal is currently 13th, but again, having not set an indicative flying lap. Coming towards the end of his first lap in anger, and indeed he goes past side commentary position, goes quickest, a 1 minute 53.7, that being the fastest lap we have seen this weekend for the Euroformula Open runners. And the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit always produces good racing in the Euroformula Open, because alongside the mid and slow speed technical corners, there are also some great sections of the circuit where you can really challenge, overtake, use the slipstream. It's a track that's very, very well configured to Formula 3 racing. As now out of Luffield, sprinting through, then comes Felipe Dragovich. Every indication is that this is going to be the quickest lap of the period so far, and indeed it is a 1 minute 53.1, so that puts him 0.6 clear of Marcus Siebert, who has just burst through the bubble and gone second. Then Fiscal into third, then Lucas Dunner 4th, Matheus Iorio is 5th, Cameron Das 6th, Callum Williams 7th, in 8th place is Yves Baltas, 9th is Alex Karkozik, 10th Aldo Festante, Festante moving this weekend to the Teo Martin Motorsport squad, 11th place is Guilherme Samaya, 12th is Christian Hahn, and then 13th place is a newcomer to the championship this weekend, that's Dev Gore, the 21-year-old American, who enters the fray with the Carlin squad. So we hit the 1/3 point of the session. Felipe Dragovich, proving that last time round was no fluke, is on another good lap. He's just set the fastest first sector of anybody. And given the expanse of the Silverstone circuit, this is one of the tracks in the calendar where the drivers shouldn't struggle too much to get a little bit of clear air. So we follow Guilherme Samaya, which is RP Motorsport teammate, who backs out of this lap. He's got compatriot Matheus Iorio right behind him. Iorio, I think, thought he was going to get a little bit of a tow there. Realised that none was forthcoming. Now again, this Silverstone circuit, scene of many triumphs over the years for the Carlin team. Still chasing their first victory of the 2018 campaign, the Carlin squad. They were on the top step of the podium last year with Med Vaidyanathan and Devlin De Francesco were both in the mix. De Francesco victorious in Barcelona, Vaidyanathan in Spa. And Iorio has looked like claimed victory on a couple of occasions. He's had 3 second-place finishes, 1 third-place finish. However, the last time he was on the podium was the first race at Spa-Francorchamps, so it's been a fair few months since Yorio was on the rostrum. Comes across the line, a 1 minute 54.138 for the Brazilian. And that is good enough to place him into 8th position, just behind teammate Cameron Dass. Meanwhile, we're just over a third of the way through the session. Felipe Dragovich now 1 minute 52.852, almost 0.8 of a second clear of Marcus Siebert. Siebert, who also improved last time round. Viscal in 3rd. Up to 4th now has come Alex Karkozic in the 2nd of the Campos cars, with Yves Baltas completing the Campos entry up into 5th. Let's listen to the shift in the engine note there for Yorio on the brakes, down a gear into Stowe. Then the road just falls away into the Vale before climbing slightly as he hits the club complex. Plants his right foot to accelerate out of club. That sprint then along towards Abbey. And then the left-hander at Farm that will feed him through towards Village. Now here is Ben Viscal then, the leader of the Rookie Championship, 2nd place in the standings overall. Viscal, who scored his first pole position in the Euroformula Open, lost him out at the Hungaroring, but was pipped early on by Dragovich and had to settle for 2nd place. But Viscal, he's not been off the podium in the last 3 races. Was runner-up in both of the races at the Hungaroring as well. And he accelerates towards the end of the Hanger Straight. Turns through the right-hander at Stowe, finds the grip. And over the bumps and the ripples on the way into the Vale. Silverstone circuit resurfaced, of course, over the winter, and that means that although the teams were raced on this exact layout 12 months ago, some of the data they may have accumulated might not be quite as relevant. So they'll have been able to use their testing and free practice time really just to learn how the tyres are adapting to the surface, just how hard and where the drivers can push. So we approach the halfway point in the session. We've got a couple of drivers already beginning to peel in to the pit lane for the mid-session tyre change, and the pace from Viscal on this lap suggests that he could well be on the in-lap as well. So he navigates his way round Luffield, see if he pulls off to the right-hand side. Indeed he does, and into the pit lane. So the RP Motorsport team at work on the car of Felipe Dragovich. Everybody else just peeling down to the pit lane speed limit, and then they will, in case of Viscal, not roll very far to the Teo Martin Motorsport pit box. Already in position, Aldo Fastante having brand new set of Michelin tyres bolted onto his car. The same, I would anticipate, will happen to Viscal. Just watching playback of the telemetry, of course. We've got, meanwhile, summoned to race control with immediate effect the team manager for Marcus Siebert. So we'll find out what that could be about. There at the bottom of your screen, meanwhile, is the current set of standings. Now here is Siebert as he runs along the Hanger Straight. And this is a track which can be very deceptive with track limits, because you've got the big asphalt runoff areas. It is tempting for the drivers just to overstep the mark if they possibly can. But we have seen throughout the course of the year that the stewards have been very, very hot on track limit violations. That has the makings of an in-lap for the Argentine driver, though he's nowhere near the edge of the curbs. And the same for teammate Yves Baltas in the background behind him. So expect to see both the Campos cars rolling into the pit lane before too long. That just leaves Christian Hahn as the only other car out circulating around the track. So we're at the halfway point of the qualifying session for the 9th race of the Euroformula Open season. Thank you for joining us today here at Silverstone. And to the bulk of the field, pause in the pit lane. It is Felipe Dragovich who is quickest of all, clear of Marcus Siebert, then Ben Viscal in 3rd, Alex Karkozic 4th, Yves Baltas is 5th, Lucas Dunner 6th, Cameron Dass 7th, Matteo Sorio in 8th, Callum Williams 9th, Aldo Fastante in 10th, Guilherme Smar 11th, Christian Hahn 12th, and Dev Gore in 13th. So into the pit lane for Yves Baltas and Marcus Siebert. They'll head down to the Campos Racing pit area, and I'd imagine we'll have Christian Hahn in before too long as well. So this, for the drivers, a good opportunity just to take stock for a couple of moments, have a little bit of a pause and a think about how the first half of the session has unfolded, what they can do differently for the second half of qualifying, and how they can really push to set those lap times that are going to form the grid for the race later on today. So laptops get plugged in. So the cars go up on the jacks. There is the Carling car of Mateusz Jorio. Meanwhile, Felipe Dragovich all on his own there, just thinking about the job to come. And this is something that the drivers all like to try and do if they can, is just take a few moments to pause and reflect, think through the perfect lap. I think where maybe they've learned the track, just found a bit more grip overnight. Maybe they can push a bit harder there. Maybe certain bits a little bit more slippery than it was yesterday afternoon. So just to be a little bit more careful. So there is Dev Gore, the newcomer to the championship. And again, just thinking through the lap ahead, the graduate of the US Formula Ford 2000 championship. Well, the Carling team in the Euroformula Open, they've had a great deal of success running American drivers, not least in the form of Colton Herter, who may well be joining Euroformula Open alumni Ed Jones in making the jump up to the IndyCar Series next year. So fully focused on the job ahead there is Callum Williams at the wheel of the Fortec car. The DriveX car as well of Christian Hahn, wheel nuts being attached. So Dev Gore, the first to pull the pin, and he will have the benefit of a totally clear track with which to try and set a qualifying mark through the Maggots and Beckett's complex for Gore. It will take a couple of laps just to get the heat cycle working as the drivers want it to for the Michelin tyre. It's a tyre that gives a great level of performance, but the drivers can't go out too hot on it in qualifying unless they burn through that optimum peak performance banding of the tyre. So they'll take the first lap pretty steadily, build up pace on the second lap, and then it might be from the third lap that we'll start to see them pushing for qualifying times. So Gore just being, I wouldn't exactly say gentle with the throttle, but just not quite spinning up the tyres if he doesn't absolutely have to. Lucas Dunner, meanwhile, poised and ready to go. And Dunner, who's been knocking on the door of getting on the podium for quite a while, qualified extremely well at the Hungaroring. It didn't really quite work out for him in terms of the way that the race has unfolded. But nonetheless, he has been steadily picking up the points. Currently 8th in the standings. The engine sings on Gore's car down the Wellington Straight on towards Brooklands. Just a third of the session to go. And Dev Gore, the only driver out on track at the moment. Accelerating through Woodcote on towards Copse Corner. And the pace will accelerate and start to pick up this time around for Gore. And it will probably be next time around that you can really push. So over that slight brow of the hill on the way into Maggots and Beckett's section of the track, really requiring full commitment from the drivers. This is where the aerodynamic grip comes to the fore. Drivers keep their feet in and then accelerate as early as they can at full throttle out onto the Hanger Straight. So it's that long run, best part of a kilometre or so, down towards Stowe. Fortunately today, and unusually for Silverstone, it's actually not that windy, so they're not pounding into the headwind that's sometimes the case on the Hanger Straight, or indeed picking up a substantial tailwind. Through Vale. Just listening to the engine note compared to a lap ago. Gore pushing much more. We've got a couple more cars emerging from the pit lanes. Cameron Das, another of the Carling cars, has also peeled out of the pit lane. All the while, of course, the clock ticking downwards. What Gore will hope, as he comes towards the end of this lap, is that next time around when he goes into the flying lap, he's not going to catch too many cars on their out laps. At the moment, the indication is that he won't. Still about 20 seconds, a bit more, 30 seconds or so before he does get to the end of this lap. Everybody else still poised in the pit lane. 8 3/4 minutes left in the session. Through the left-hander on to the right-hander at Luffield. And now Gore can accelerate through, and this is going to be into a flying lap for Dev Gore. So across the line he goes, pit board goes out, and he's going to have an empty track as well as he peels through Copse Corner. Nobody else yet out of the pits. Nails the throttle through Copse, and then on towards Maggots and Beckett's. A couple of other cars now emerging. Alex Karkozic, Yves Baltas and Callum Williams, Felipe Dragovich too, all out on track. So suddenly we are going to be hitting the shootout phase of the session. There's just a bit of a correction there coming out of Beckett's there for Gore, and has that forced him to be a couple of tenths of a second later onto the throttle as he accelerates onto the hanger straight than he'd like to have been. Into Stowe, and again on full throttle as quickly as he can be, because relatively speaking, of course, these Euroformula Open cars, they've got more grip than power, and therefore you need to run the car with full throttle as much as possible and get into full throttle as early as possible. So now, with the exception of Bentley Skull, everybody else is out on track. So the times are going to start coming in. This lap thus far is going to be Gore's best lap of the session. Still a little bit adrift of the mark set by Felipe Dragovich early on. So it comes through the second sector. And so, yeah, well, this is going to be a personal best lap. I'm not sure it's going to see a massive elevation up through the order for Dev Gore. He's come into the championship halfway through the year. As much as anything, this weekend is just going to be about learning how the Euroformula Open Championship works. Getting scripts with the car, getting scripts with the circuit. So he accelerates through, and that is a lap time of 1 minute 54.932 for Gore. So still leaves him in 13th place. He's going to be able to go, though, get another couple of flying laps out of the session. Meanwhile, the rest of the field en masse through Brooklands. There is Yves Baltas, currently 5th in the standings, and Baltas has been steadily moving up through the pecking order as the season's unfolded. The race results not quite reflecting actually some of the pace that we've seen from the American driver in qualifying sessions of late, as Felipe Dragovich, this is probably not going to be a flying lap for the Brazilian. It's going to be next time around, I'd anticipate, where we'll really see him pressing on. He has got Mateus Yorio in his wheel tracks, just under 6 minutes to run. And a good lap is going to be in the mid 1 minute 50-second bracket, so they're going to have time for 2 or 3 quick laps. Whole field out and circulating. The only blue light on our timing screen is Callum Williams, who has had a good first sector in the Fortec car. In terms of taking the fight to Felipe Dragovich, it's really, if anybody can out-qualify the Brazilian and then keep him behind them on the first lap of the race. We've seen Dragovich not get pole position on a couple of occasions, but then he's always so good through the first lap or so of the race, always able to race his way into the lead, and thereafter just turn the screw on the rest of the field, ease away to what eventually turns into some quite comfortable advantages. So Callum Williams, the driver who is likely to improve on this occasion. The rest of the field will be embarking on flying laps at the end of the lap that they're just about to complete. As Dev Gore, unfortunately for him, unable to post an improvement. Here comes Callum Williams then, accelerating through Woodcote. What time can he offer us? It's good enough for second place. 1 minute 53.611. 3/4 of a second adrift of the time set by Felipe Dragovich early on. Let's see how that time will stand for Williams and the Fortec squad. Others are beginning to push now. Cameron Dass coming to the end of a reasonably good lap. Indeed he does, he goes 6th, 1 minute 53.842. Time left in the session for 2 or 3 more laps, depending on where they cross the timing beam. Williams chasing another improvement. He's up a little bit on his best through the first sector. Second sector lasts an absolute eternity as Felipe Dragovich has just set the fastest first sector of anybody in this qualifying session. So once more, Felipe Dragovich looking to hammer home his advantage over the rest of the field. Behind him, though, I'd like to see a glut of improvements this time round. Callum Williams about 10 seconds away from coming to the end of the second sector. Let's see if he can sustain his improvement. Out of the loop, accelerating through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Middle sector of 49.2 for Williams, so half a second adrift of Felipe Dragovich. That means that if he can sustain that more or less, Williams is going to improve by a couple of tenths of a second this time around. Oh, but he won't, because he gets it all wrong through Brooklands, just pushes a little bit too hard. In the great scheme of things, that's not cost him a whole heap of time. In the context of a qualifying session, that may well hurt him a little bit. Powers through, yeah, it does. A lap time that was 9/10 adrift of his best, so Williams goes away from him late on. Felipe Dragovich, next man across the line, a 1 minute 52.514 for Felipe Dragovich, over a second quicker now than the rest of the field. Mateus Iorio in his wheel tracks, a 1 minute 54.0. Alex Karkozic goes second, a 1 minute 53.6, just a thousandth of a second up on Callum Williams. Marcus Siebert coming towards the end of a reasonably good lap as well. So we follow Mateus Iorio onto the hangar straight as he tries to pursue the provisional pole sitter, Felipe Dragovich. As Dunner goes second, Lucas Dunner goes second, 1:53.527. Still a second adrift of Felipe Dragovich, however. Marcus Siebert, the lap went away from him in the final sector, so he remains in 6th. So the order is Dragovich, Dunner, Karkozic, Williams, Dass in 5th, Marcus Siebert 6th, Hela Guilherme Samar, Bent Fiscal, Yves Baltas, Aldo Fastante completes the top 10. Now, looking at the timing screen for Mateus Iorio, he didn't post a personal best through the first sector. He wasn't a million miles away. Now, here is Lucas Dunner. He qualified superbly at the Hungaroring. And thus far, it looks like he is able to repeat the job here at Silverstone. There's just a minute left in the session. By my reckoning, that means that Dunner may well collect the checkered flag when he comes through to complete this lap. So we're going to have a very interesting looking grid, because from our timing screen, nobody's really improved at all through the first sector on this lap. And quite a few of them are going to run out of time to squeeze another lap before the checkered flag falls. Of course, the exception to that rule is Felipe Dragovich, who goes quicker still, a 1 minute 52.385. So that means that Dragovich is 1.1 seconds up on the rest of the field, 20 seconds to run, and Lucas Dunner will get the checkered flag on this occasion. It's unlikely that the Austrian driver is going to improve either, as he turns through the right-hander at Luffield. This could well be a front row start for Lucas Dunner. He applies the throttle, takes the checkered flag, and doesn't improve, but he's currently second, the first of the drivers through to take the flag. Everybody else now on their last lap of this qualifying period. Guilherme Samar also through to the flag, no improvement from 7th. And again, the timing screen suggests there isn't much in the way of improvement through the field. Bent Fiscal, whom we watch now, well, that's Aldo Fastante who we watch now, Teo Marti motorsport car. improved through the first sector. Benfica, who's been a very good last-minute merchant, his TMRT Motorsport teammate, also looks like he's not going to improve as he comes through to take the flag. Felipe Dragovich, meanwhile, is still on the cusp of further improvement, although he now backs out the lap, allows Mateus Iorio through. As Ben Fiscal goes second, so Fiscal once more does leave his best lap to the very end of the session and pips Lucas Donner for second place and the top rookie in the session. So where are Cameron Dass and Mateus Iorio for the Carlin team going to shuffle through into all of this? For Felipe Dragovich, it is very much a case of job done for the Brazilian, because he, and also for Mateus Iorio. So Iorio aborts lap, he's going to line up in 9th. Somewhere adrift where he would want to be. As the last few drivers either take the checkered flag or peel into the pit lane, and this is going to be a very, very heartening qualifying session for several drivers, with Karkozic in 4th, Callum Williams looking likely to start from 5th, ahead of Cameron Dass in 6th, and then Marcus Siebert, who was quickest in free practice yesterday, only able to do 7th. So the whole field have taken the checker flag at the end of an intriguing qualifying session. It's pole position once more, however, for Felipe Dragovich for RP Motorsport. He'll share the front row of the grid with the top rookie, TMRT Motorsport's Ben Fiscal. Lucas Donner for the DriveX team starts from 3rd, ahead of Alex Karkozic in 4th. Callum Williams well up in 5th for Fortec. So 6 different teams in the top 6 places, with Cameron Dass for Carlin in 6th. Marcus Siebert then in 7th, ahead of Guilherme Samaya. Yves Baltas and Mateus Iorio completing the top 10. Aldo Festante will start from 11th, ahead of Christian Hahn and Dev Gore. The green flag lap starts at 2:10 local time here, United Kingdom, so add an hour if you're watching in Central European time. Until then, it's goodbye from Silverstone.
So competitive. We're still trying out some things in the car, but yeah, now we pull all together now, and it was really good. Yeah, thanks to the team once again. We did a great job together.
How do you see the track? How do you see